Hello, sweethearts. This is our science for week 4. It's about classifying living things. How are living things classified? Have you ever tried to sort laundry? Sorting laundry is a way to classify items. So when we classify, we place things that share properties together in groups. For example, we can sort laundry by color: white clothing and colored clothing. But do you know that we can also classify living things the same way? Living things can be classified into groups according to their traits. So scientists study the traits of organisms in order to classify them into groups. Traits are the characteristics. So they look for the organism's body form and how they get food, if they move and how do they move, number of cells they have, if their cells have or do not have nucleus. Also, they study the cell parts. So as we said, scientists study the traits or the characteristics of living things in order to classify them. So they have divided the living things into 6 kingdoms. A kingdom is the largest group into which organisms can be classified. What are these 6 kingdoms? Archaea kingdom, bacteria kingdom, protists kingdom, fungi kingdom, plants kingdom, and animals kingdom. Actually, next week we're going to learn about plants kingdom. Okay, so then each of these kingdoms is also classified into smaller groups. So for example here, let's take the Archaea kingdom is also classified into smaller groups. They are phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. Let's think about it as follows. Let's consider that a kingdom is the largest box in here. So this largest box is classified into smaller boxes that are phylums, and a phylum is classified into different classes. A class is classified into orders. An order is classified into families. A family is classified into genus, and a genus is then classified into species. So as we move on to the smaller groups, they become smaller and smaller until only one type of organism remains. So the largest group is the kingdom, and then we classify the kingdom into smaller groups until we reach the species, which we can only find there only one type of organism. So let's go back to our kingdoms now. We need to talk about archaea, bacteria, protists, and fungi. They have one thing in common. Their organisms are made up of one cell. Only protists have organisms that have cell nucleus, and fungi, their organisms have cell wall and cell nucleus. Bacteria and archaea are very small. They are called microorganisms because they are too small to be seen. We probably know that bacteria cause infections and diseases, yet some are helpful. We have bacteria in our digestive system that help break down food. One example of bacteria is Streptococcus. It can cause infections in our throat. A yeast is a kind of fungus. Fungus is singular, fungi is plural. A paramecium is a protist that has a structure or a part which pumps extra water out of its cells. This is a paramecium. Now let's check how are organisms named. So we are going to learn about the scientific names. How are they named? First, the scientific name of an organism has two parts. The first part is its genus name. The second part is its species name. For example, wolves and coyotes belong in the genus Canis. It's called Canis. They belong to the Canis genus. So here, this is the gray wolf and this is a coyote. So how are they named? The gray wolf has a name of two parts. We said the first part should be the genus. As we can see here, a gray wolf has its first part Canis, which is its genus name. Also, the coyote has the first part of its name as Canis, which is also its genus name. But what's the difference between both names is that the second part of the gray wolf name is lupus, whereas the second part of the coyote's name is latrans. So a gray wolf named Canis lupus and a coyote is named Canis latrans. Scientists have named about 1.7 million species of organisms. Good luck!